All right, let's talk about a huge shift that's happening right now in business leadership. And no, I'm not talking about just another app or a software update. We're talking about something called AI agents. Think of them as a totally new kind of digital employee, and they're about to completely change how work gets done. I mean, that's not science fiction anymore, right? This is actually becoming a reality for leaders all over the place. And it brings up a huge question. How on earth do you lead when your tools start acting less like tools and more like teammates? And look, this is not some far off, maybe someday kind of trend. We're seeing projections of a staggering 50% growth in companies adopting AI agents by 2027. That is fast. And that kind of speed means that understanding this tech, well, it's not optional anymore. It's becoming a critical leadership skill right now.
Okay, so how do we get our arms around this whole thing? Well, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we're going to figure out what an AI agent really is. Then, we'll dive into the big shift and how they actually work, see some real-world examples, and I'll give you a practical playbook for leading this change. And to wrap it all up, we'll get a little glimpse of the collaborative future they're making possible.
All right, first things first. This really requires a bit of a mental shift. We have to move past thinking about simple automation. What we're really talking about here is welcoming a brand new kind of digital coworker to the team. So what does this new teammate actually do? Well, for starters, they can take on those routine tasks that have a little bit of uncertainty built in. You know, the exact kind of stuff that always trips up old school automation. This frees up your human team to focus on more strategic work. They can also just chew through mountains of data and then propose the best next step. And on top of that, they can deliver these hyper-personalized experiences for customers at a scale that was, honestly, impossible before.
Okay, now this next part, this is the key. You really have to get this part. The whole power of AI agents comes from a complete flip, a total reversal of how we've been dealing with software for, like, the last 60 years.
So here it is, the big difference. Traditional software, it needs a recipe, a rigid, step-by-step, do this, then do that set of instructions. But an AI agent, you don't give it the recipe. You just tell it what you want for dinner. You give it a goal, and it figures out all the steps on its own, adapting along the way. That is the absolute game changer here. You know, the best way to think about it is like having a personal assistant. You wouldn't tell your assistant, okay, open this website, now click this button, now fill in this form. No way. You just say, hey, can you book my trip to that conference in Dallas next week? Just make sure it's within the company travel policy. And the assistant, or in this case, the AI agent, just handles it. It figures out all those complex little steps to make the goal happen. So that's the what. Now let's talk about the where. Because this isn't just for the IT department or some special projects team. AI agents can be used pretty much across the entire business. Take customer service, for example. An agent can, in an instant, pull up a customer's entire history, figure out the tone of their email, and then draft a perfectly personalized response. This means your human reps can stop doing the repetitive stuff and focus on the really complex, emotionally tricky cases where they're needed most. That's a huge win for customer satisfaction, for sure. But what about the other side of that coin? Sales. Imagine an agent that can take a prospect's unique needs and automatically spin up a custom video demo just for them. It could even schedule follow-ups and handle all the boring admin stuff, letting your salespeople do what they do best, build relationships. So, you've just sped up your sales cycle. Awesome. Now let's look inside the company, at your own people. Think about HR. An agent could act like a virtual onboarding buddy for every new hire. It could answer all those first-day policy questions, schedule meet and greets, basically just make sure everyone has a super smooth and welcoming start from the minute they walk in the door. And check this out. This is a really powerful one for business resilience. Picture this. Your main supplier just went down. A major disruption. Instead of everyone panicking, a procurement agent could instantly find, vet, and contact alternative suppliers. It could turn a potential crisis into a solved problem in, like, minutes instead of days or weeks. So you see, whether it's sales, HR, or procurement, the big ideas are the same. These agents are goal-oriented. They know how to break down big, complex tasks into smaller pieces. And they can pull in data from all over the business to actually get the job done. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But the real question is, how do you actually make it happen? As a leader, you need a playbook. So this next part is all about shifting from what-ifs to how-to. And this is the question on every leader's mind, isn't it? When you have a technology this new and this powerful, just figuring out where to start can feel, well, pretty overwhelming. Where do you even place that first bet? Okay, here's a simple 6-step playbook to get you going. First, just find the value. Go talk to your teams, ask them, where are our biggest, most annoying manual bottlenecks? Then start small. Pick just one of those areas to explore agents. That way you can learn and manage the risk. After that, it's all about enabling and educating your people, running a nice controlled pilot, getting feedback, iterating, and then only then do you start to expand. It's a really smart, low-risk way to get the ball rolling.
And your role as a leader has to change a bit too. Your job is to encourage experimentation, to create places where teams can share what they're learning. But probably the most important thing, you have to push for critical thinking. Here's why. You need to think of these agents less like perfect, finished tools and more like really, really capable trainees. Your team's job is to delegate the task, but they're still the ones responsible for checking the work and reviewing the output.
And this right here is a really critical piece of advice. In the big rush to be more efficient, especially in areas like HR, we just can't lose sight of the human element. The real goal here is to augment your team, to deepen connections, not to replace them. It's so important to remember that technology should be serving people, not the other way around. Okay, let's look ahead for our final piece. If you think a single AI agent is powerful, just wait. Wait until you see what happens when they start working together. This, my friends, is the next frontier. So far, we've mostly been talking about agents as individual specialists, right? Each one tackling a specific task inside its own little department silo. But the future isn't siloed, it's integrated. Just imagine these agents talking to each other, coordinating across the entire business to pull off much bigger, more complex goals. Let's make this real. A customer needs a complicated proposal fast. So the sales agent pings the procurement agent to check on real-time material costs. At the same time, it's talking to the supply chain agent to calculate shipping times and costs. In literally seconds, they all collaborate and come back with the perfect, most optimal price. See, that isn't just about being a little more efficient. That is a whole new level of agility for your entire organization.
So that really brings us to the big takeaway here. This is not about managing software anymore. The fundamental relationship we have with technology is changing. Our tools are literally evolving into autonomous teammates. And the only question that leaves for you is, are you ready to lead them?